welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This week I have quite a diverse collection of pens on display, and I'll tell you what's up. I just been trying out a bunch of pens, I got the urge to ink some pens, and it's just been a busy week. So, lots of pens to talk about. Now before I do that, I just want to reassure a few of you who might have seen my video last week about trying to freeze coffee at negative 23 degrees Fahrenheit. And yes, I'm a physics guy, so I'd prefer if we use Celsius or even better yet, Kelvin. But it has warmed up since then. This past week, temperatures have been mostly in the 20s and 30s Fahrenheit. And so we have a nice glaze on everything, which ought to make Christmas Day interesting because we're forecasted to get quite some interesting weather Christmas Day. So I will not be traveling Christmas Day. I'm going to stay safely in my nice little house and let the weather do what the weather does. All right, so let's talk about some pens. So my diverse collection, I have an Aurora, I have a Platinum, I have a little surprise, I have Noodlers, a Kaweco, a Lamy. I've talked about this pen. This is my Malarkey pen. I've been kind of disappointed. It's upside down. I've been kind of disappointed with the Malarkey pen. So, yes, I will talk about this pen when I review it, but I don't think it deserves to be in pens in use. And honestly, I keep showing this Lamy 2000, but since I have so many pens, let's pull that one out. Thornton's wonderful pen. I will be reviewing it soon, so let's pull that one out. The Twist, I'm not going to write with that, but I've got a reason I want to talk about it. So what the heck? Let's talk about it. So a diverse collection. A Sheaffer, a Jinhao, and a Kaweco all sport to round it all out. All right, so let's get started, and we'll talk a little bit about what's coming with the channel, because I found a new feature on YouTube that's just like, revolutionizes my uploading life. So this is an Aurora style gemstone. And it's a broad nib. And I have this critter inked up with, got to look at my ink journal here, because I don't remember. This is inked up with KWZ Green Gold. And you couldn't quite see all of that, but yeah. Now, let me tell you a little bit. I actually inked up another pen with a different ink on purpose to compare it with this one. So let's jump to that. Then I'll just briefly say something about these two pens. This is a Platinum 3776 Yamanaka. This is the Aurora Gemstone. I mean, this Aurora Gemstone, I can't explain why I like it. It just looks like a comfortable 1960s pen, and I just look at it just like, yes! The Yamanaka definitely has a neat finish. So let's try it out. So this is a Platinum 3776. What's that? Do I have the same ink here? I have a soft medium nib in this puppy. Medium starts with an M. But the ink here, this is actually Stipula Moss Green. I meant to say musk, and I apologize for that. But anyway, don't they look like the same ink? I mean, they do to me. I can't see much difference. I might have to try doing some paper chromatography or something just to see the difference, but whatever. By the way, let's be a little less weird looking. I wore the flannel because it's kind of cool inside my house. I'm not a big... I try and not turn up the heat in here, and it is a little cold in here, so yeah, I had the flannel on. But let's just... I got this shirt as a Christmas gift from my employer, so let's just go with it. All right, so they look the same. I have to study it to find out the difference, but two really fun pens. Now here's another pen. This one is a Noodler's Conrad. You've seen a Noodler's Conrad before. This is the resin version. It's not the acrylic or the ebonite or anything. So Noodler's Conrad. And it has a 1.5 millimeter stub goulet nib on it. And it has J.R. Bond. Got to go to a new line here. 1670 Stormy Gray. And I do try with this nib to orient it more like this when I write and I'm not underneath a camera. But it is hard. But even so, I'll tell you my concerns with this ink, and you probably, yeah, you can't see it there. You can't see it. But the gold speckles, flecks, highlights, whatever you want to call them, they don't stay suspended in the ink. They want to settle out. So I find that with the writing, the gold specks don't show up as much as I'd like. I also find the gold specks show up better under artificial light than natural light. And, you know, I have to be using good paper. And I just find all around kind of a disappointment. If the ink stays in the pen for a few days, what I find is that it just gets worse and worse every day as the ink settles into the feed and in the ink chamber. And it's just like, So I'm turning out to not be a fan of these sparkly inks. I like the concept. I love sheening inks. But sparkly inks, I'm just kind of thinking, All right. So speaking of although I'll be a little kinder. This is a Pelican twist. And you can see the twist. The reason I have this guy out is I've been using Diamine Ancient Copper ink in it. What I'm trying to show you here, I mentioned before how pleased I am that the ink isn't crusting on the nib. It's crusting. I let this pen sit for a few more days than I've normally let it sit. I've had some busy days here. I mean, I'll talk about the upload thing, but you know, don't let my uploads fool you. I've been busy. And yeah, that pen sat and really disappointed in all the crusting. Wipes off, so okay, but yeah, the crusting is disappointing. I don't know, I had almost convinced myself I'd be buying a bottle. I don't know that I'll be doing that anymore. All right, so let's get back to well-behaved pens. There's an aesthetic, I've mentioned briefly before about my collecting. There's an aesthetic I kind of like. Pens like this, very plain, very black, very 60s looking, mostly functional. This is a Kaweco V14S. It even has that, it shows up sort of there. I like this look. So this Kaweco V14S, which by the way is a fine point, has a semi-hooded gold nib, which I like a lot. Very, very much like this pen. The plastic on it, the resin, is apparently a Montblanc type of resin that stays shiny and whatnot. I don't quite understand all that. But I just like this aesthetic, and that's something I've gotten interested in collecting. Now, when I mentioned Aurora a little bit ago, this Aurora gemstone isn't it, but I purchased an Aurora 88 because it kind of is in that era and has sort of that aesthetic I like. Sadly, it got smushed in the mail, and its replacement is sitting off camera right now. But I liked that aesthetic. I have somebody offering me to trade a Parker 51, which I hope to do. But anyway, yeah, I think I found a direction for my collecting. All right, so I found a new direction for collecting, and that will develop over time. Meanwhile, here's another fun pen. I briefly toyed with the idea because I found one for about $300, but yeah, that's too much money. I briefly toyed with the idea of buying a Pelikan M800. Right here is a Pelikan M800 knockoff. This is a Jinhao 500. The Jinhao 500 retails for about $4 or $5 versus $300. Guess which one I went for. But surprisingly, I like this pen. Now, the finish, I can kind of tell here they actually made some effort toward matching it up, but didn't quite make it. You know, the finish, not that thrilling. But the writing experience is pretty good. So, Jinhao, let's see if I can see it myself. Jinhao 500. And I'm using Blackstone. Whoops, there's only one L. Blackstone Daintree Green. So it's actually a fairly attractive pen. The nib is a little small. This is not a number 6 nib. I'm not exactly sure what size it is, although I would like to know. Nice grip. I mean, it's a metal grip. It's a metal pen. But at the same time, it's not as uncomfortable to hold as a lot of metal pens. So, yeah, a little bit of kudos. I like the looks of it. I like the writing experience. I'm basically happy with it. You know, I'm sure it's no it's no Pelikan M800. But again, $300 on a pen. I'm a little leery of spending that on a pen. Which is why I do not yet own a Pelikan M800. Simple as that. All right, let's blow through one last ordinary pen, and then we'll get to something special. This is my Kaweco All Sport. What makes it special is it's in the stonewashed finish. I actually inked it up today because I wore this shirt to work, and there's no pocket right here, so I needed a pocket pen. So Kaweco All Sport. And this happens to have a medium nib on it. And my ink is KWZ Mandarin. I couldn't tell you exactly why I decided this ink and this pen went together, but I did. And here's what's kind of fun about it. If you sit and watch it long enough, so I'll come back at the end of the review. In fact, now I wish I'd done this pen first. You're going to see some color change, and if you come back in a few days, you'll see even more color change. Very interesting ink. I'm getting to really appreciate Iron Gall. And KWZ, of course, is a Polish brand, and I need to learn how to pronounce it properly in Polish, so I need to research that a little bit. But anyway, that will come. And you may have found that I do like researching. If you watched my review earlier this week of the Pond 52, I did some research on that pen. A lot of fun. Don't speak Norwegian, so a lot of details got missed. But I'll just tell you what I discovered with YouTube before I get to these last two pens. One of the things I discovered with YouTube is that apparently you can schedule when a video becomes available. Now this comes in handy for a couple reasons. One of them is, what if I travel? Another one is, wouldn't it be nice if I could just upload overnight when I'm asleep and not trying to use the internet? And then another one is, wouldn't it be nice if I could just have my videos appear at a consistent time? So here's what I'm looking at doing. I'm going to start uploading my videos ahead of time and then scheduling them to appear. So my pen review / pen rodeo, I'm now going to have those appear on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's GMT -7, if Greenwich Mean Time -7, if that helps you. I live in Mountain Time, so yeah, we'll just go with Mountain Time, 3 o'clock. Now, I'm still teaching at 3 o'clock, but it's okay because I could have uploaded the review weeks, months, even years before, although I won't do that. I have one review uploaded right now that's not going to appear next week. It's going to actually appear the week after that, because next week I'm going to do a top 10 video. I originally listed out my top 10, but I realized thanks to a comment today on my Pond 52 review, and I don't have it open, so I can't give this person's name, but anyway, there's a commenter mentions that, you know, once you start reviewing these vintage pens, people are going to want them, and then they can't find them. So I'm revising my top 10 list before I film that rodeo. It's going to be all pens you can buy as of this filming, but then as bonus, I'm going to throw in a couple of vintage pens that I enjoy. So I gotta do it. Sorry, but anyway, I will start uploading my pens in use videos at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time again on Fridays. Then I will start uploading my driving videos. I haven't decided when yet. I kind of think they're almost a morning thing, but I want to upload them on Sunday for sure. And other videos, you know, of course, are just going to happen when they happen, but, you know. All right, so back to the pens. Here's a fun little pen. This Chris Rapp 52, I'm addressing this to you especially. This is a Sheaffer. Yes, I bought a Sheaffer. This is a Sheaffer, let's look at what it's called, snorkel clipper. When I review this one, look for some fun. In the meantime, I'll just give you the short version. On a snorkel right here, there's a little snorkel that comes out to fill the pen without dipping the nib. The nib itself has a weird little curve outward. They all do. The nib is very odd looking. And here there's a little thingy you pull out. And somewhere around here there's a breather hole to provide air pressure. And I will get into all of that. This pen is probably one of the most complex fountain pens ever made. Also, apparently, it's upside down. Apparently this pen belonged to BWF. So thank you, BWF, for this pen. I am enjoying it greatly. BWF may have been gone for a long time because this is a pen that was issued in the 1950s. But what a lot of fun. So, Sheaffer. There are a lot of spellings of Sheaffer out there. In fact, I used to live up the road from a lady we called Mrs. Sheaffer. And she didn't spell it like this. I have taught some Sheaffers. Sheaffer snorkel clipper. And it's a fine point. And KWZ question mark ink. This is that bottle I got sent by mistake that I mentioned in my Mistakes Happen video. So let me talk to you about that. One of my pen pals recently wrote me. And here's what she sent me. Let me pull this away. Right here, this is her writing. This is my writing. The extra lines around the box are all my writing. The extra lines at the side of the arrow are my writing. She thinks she's figured out what my mystery ink is. Now, I'm not doing a lot of ink ordering right now because it is... Wow, my color's messed up. I just realized that. So if I've been filming this whole video with a messed up color, I apologize. But anyway, she thinks this is KWZ Menthol Green. Now, I've had it narrowed down to either KWZ Menthol Green or KWZ Standard Turquoise. I wasn't sure. She's narrowed it down further. I think she might be right. What do you think? I don't know, because there's no label, so I'll probably never be sure, but I think I have a bottle of menthol green labeled as Iron Gall Violet number 2. Alright, so I've saved one pen on purpose for last. Let me just lay it here without telling you what it is first. Another one of that aesthetic that I said I really appreciate. So I ordered that Aurora 88. It was an early 1950s version, and in transit in one of the post offices in Europe, it got smushed by something heavy. Sad day. So the company said, myuberpens.com, they said, is there something else you'd be interested in, or do you want a credit, or what do you want to do there, dude? So I said, yeah, there is something else I'm interested in. Actually, there were two something else's, because there's some Kawecos there that I'm seriously interested in. But I said, okay, the Kawecos, yes, I'm seriously interested in, but they have some similarities to pens I already have. This is unique. Here's my unique pen. This pen is quite the surprise. So, minimalist aesthetic, I like that. It actually, if I put the Kaweco next to it, it's actually the very same material. You see a lot of similarities in shape, both piston fillers. Actually, as you'll see, they both have a blue ink window. Just very, very similar in a lot of ways. But this pen is something different. It's a brand I have never owned before, except for one bottle of ink. What's that brand? Well, let's raise up the document camera and drop down a little. See if I can focus on it. Yeah, what's that? That's a snowflake. I'll talk a little bit about that when I review that, because I can't remember exactly what mountain it is, but it's some mountain that the top looks like that. The other end has the same snowflake. So what is this pen? A brand new Montblanc is out of my price range. If I were to buy a Montblanc 149 Meisterstück, we're talking about $700. That is close to 1.5 house payments for me. It's not going to happen. This is substantially less than $700 because it's a vintage pen. It's a Montblanc fountain pen from the 1960s. I can afford it. It's in my range. And now I can say I own a Montblanc. In fact, I've been doing meeting notes all week with the Montblanc as my main writing instrument, and the Kaweco with its grapefruit ink as kind of my highlight / question, because I like to do notes. You know, the big column is the notes, the side column in kind of the grapefruit color or some other color, depending on what pens I'm using, is my questions that come up as I go through the meeting. So that's what I've been doing. They're both piston fillers. You really can't see much for the ink window. They both have semi-hooded nibs, not hooded, but this is a sort of ink window. Semi-hooded nib, but hooded in a very different way. And yes, it's a lot of fun. So I look forward to doing a review on this one. This isn't going to have an exotic history that nobody's ever heard of, like a Pond 52 or Central Pen 1000. I lost track of my zeros. 100820 Central Pen. It's not going to have that. But it's a cool pen regardless. So I'm really glad I purchased it, and I look forward to talking about it down the road after I've had a chance to review it and use it for a while. So those are my pens in use. Can't quite fit them all the way I have the camera set, but whatever. Now I want to hit one or two other things. I mentioned that I purchased some stuff from My Pens. There were some other things that got smushed or torn in half along with that Aurora 88, the Aurora 88 just makes me want to cry. You know, that's a pen I really, really wanted. So maybe someday. I do like the modern Aurora 88 Soleil, but yeah, $700 and some, as beautiful as it is, Not going to happen. All right, so this here is one of the things I bought from my Uber pens. Now, I already have a pen case. This is a new pen case made by Montblanc, which you really can't read it there, but just trust me. Whoops, okay. I am behind it. So what I've done, it's not full yet. I've been mostly putting my vintage and more expensive pens in here. And yeah, just starting working on it. I actually have another vintage pen, well, right here beside the Esterbrook. We'll talk about that at some future date. It's not inked up right now. I have actually not inked it up because I just said I have got too many pens inked up. But yeah, kind of exciting. What makes this cool is these elastic straps are very wide, so instead of squishing the barrel in a really narrow place, it spreads it out. I like that. Now my Platinum 3776, the celluloid King Yo finish, the koi if you like English, that one is not working well in this, so it's not in there because that little ring on the barrel, or not on the barrel, on the cap, just won't stay in place, and the elastic there traps it. So I am working on that pen. Still haven't worked out a good solution. So that was one of the fun things. Now I'm going to pull away this paper. I'm going to show you one other thing. This was kind of neat. So I have bought several pens at myuberpens.com. I like them. They have vintage pens that are restored. And that was really good for me to get going in the vintage world, because I had no clue about how to restore a vintage pen, or even if they're worth restoring, because they seemed like something to just be like a whole bunch of high maintenance stuff. And in my dating world, I don't like a high maintenance person to date and get involved with, because it's just like, yeah, you're not worth it. Well, vintage pens aren't as high maintenance as you would think. And in fact, my Uber pens, thanks to them, I've gotten into exploring restoring pens. In fact, I have 3 pens in the mail right now that are really definitely restoration projects. You won't see them unless I succeed, but definitely they're restoration projects. So I've resacked pens, I've replaced a J-bar, I twiddled a little with a button filler, and learning as I go along. Alright, so my Uber pens, I mentioned them on one of my, on Fountain Pen Network somewhere, and the owner of my Uber pens actually happened to run across my comment. Cool! I mean, it was all sincere. I didn't expect anything. So anyway, my Uber pen sent me a notebook. Now, it was in a nice slipcase, which, yeah, there it goes. There it's showing up. It was in a slipcase, which I've taken it out. It had a nice little thingy around it with lots of writing. A nice little thingy inside. 2 stickers to put on the cover. Then it's encased in a nice hard cover. Has this elastic band, and here, there it is, this nifty little bookmark. Open this puppy up. You have stuff for the owner to put in stuff. You have every page is unlined, although I think they're going to offer lined. Down here, stuff for a page number, or if you want to use letters or Chinese characters or whatever it is you're into. Pictures of fish. And only on one side. Interesting. And then in the very back, those exact same marks. And you can put a little remark about the content. Nice! When I review this more thoroughly, I'll talk about that. Also a pocket, which is where the stickers were hiding. Anyway, they sent me this as kind of a thanks for my totally unsolicited review of business with them. And that was before the whole debacle with the Aurora 88. So, it was before I really went over the top with my praise of the company. I just really like them. My Reform two Kawecos, the Centro pen. What was the other one? The Montblanc. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Anyway, those all came from myuberpens.com. And yeah, so I'm really impressed with this. When they said they're going to send me a free notebook, I said, oh, yay, another notebook for me to not know what to do with. Like, I have a field notes notebook, and it's okay, except the bleed through is so awful, I can only read one side. That's kind of what I pictured. Wow, totally did not expect a hardcover notebook with all these features. So, it's a prototype. Right here, you can see the word prototype on it. So, they didn't give it to me for free. They asked me for feedback. So I'll be doing feedback. This is not a feedback right here. But, wow. And they told me they're going to send this along with the case and the Aurora 88. And they're like, we're so excited. We want to hear your feedback. We value you as a customer and so on. And then the Aurora 88 got smushed in the mail along with everything else. So, yay, they still sent me this anyway. It wasn't my fault or their fault it got smushed in the mail. It just happened. But, kind of sad, but cool that they still sent it to me. So look forward to me talking about some notebooks. This will be top of the list. I'll be honest. And that may scare my Uber pens off from me forever. But, it is what it is. I am who I am. I'm not your normal, calm, sedate pen reviewer. I have my own personality and my own views, and I speak. I do boring driving videos. I live in North Dakota, and I just dropped a whole bunch of stuff on the floor, and we won't talk about all that. So I thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. And by the way, Christmas is coming, so I wish you happy holidays. If you're a Christmas celebrator, Merry Christmas. If you're not a Christmas celebrator, happy holidays, and yeah, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.